One thing I tend to want to do all the time is to perform what I call micro experiments on eBay. See, these micro experiments, it could just be anything that kind of makes me prove what people really do on the platform, how people buy things on the platform. Yes, there's a time where you actually have to listen a lot to what people are saying. When you set out to sell on eBay, a lot of the things you're going to be learning are what people are actually telling you on YouTube. And we are living a day and time where people just go on YouTube to tell you everything, you know, how to sell, how to list items, how to set your shop on holiday mode, how to do this, how to do that. And a lot of us sellers, we kind of just take in all these things and believe that these things that have been said, they are law. You know, you never have to go out again to test some of these things. And one thing I have found out is that even though a lot of the things that have been said on platforms like YouTube about eBay is true, there's still a place for you to actually perform your own micro experiment. And so far, I keep testing things because, come to think of it, if you are a business seller, you are actually trying to see what works, constantly looking for ways to make sure that you maximize your profit on the platform. If you sell on eBay, if you sell on other platforms, it's the same. You are constantly looking for a way to actually make sure that you get more sales, maximize your profit, you know, get value for the time that you spend on the platform. Because if you are not making profit at the end of the day, you are actually not in business. Of course, there's a business strategy that entails you making losses for a very, very long time. Of course, that's a complex game, and we're going to be leaving that, you know, for another video. But I'm just saying that, look, if you are into business, you sell on a platform like eBay, constantly test things, you know, test things out. You see, when I was going on holiday, I decided that, look, I want to make this as a test. I went on, put my shop on holiday mode, and left, you know, people to be able to buy stuff on my shop up to 15 days. Yes, we all know that when you offer a very long delivery time, people do not tend to shop on your shop, because whenever somebody wants to buy something, say a PC, the person wants the item delivered in about 2 or 3 days. So because of that, a lot of people try to push the delivery periods, you know, the processing time. People set it at 1 day, people set it on 2 days, just to be sure that their items are well ranked in the search result. Of course, this is good practice, because there is just no way you offer to deliver some item to somebody and say, look, if you buy this item, it's going to be delivered in 2 weeks. People are not going to buy the items. But even then, I tried to test something. Even though my shop was on holiday mode for 12 days, I still left it on for people to be able to buy things, just to see if there's going to be that one person that will go ahead to buy this stuff and say, you know what, I do not care if these items get delivered in 2 weeks. I am going to wait, because the price of that item is just worth waiting. I wanted to really see this, if there's going to be somebody somewhere that will say, you know what, let me go ahead and buy, even though eBay has clearly stated on this account that the seller is on holiday. You have to actually be ready to wait for a long time before you receive, you know, your item. And up till now, I've actually sold 3 items. I'm just trying to go there to see exactly what these items are. You know, beautiful thing is that one of them sold immediately I left for holiday. We have a here like the 705 G5. This sold. I actually did write the buyer to say, look, I'm on holiday. I'm not going to be able to deliver this item until about 2 weeks. The buyer didn't reply me. So what I imagine is that the buyer is pretty much cool with that. And just yesterday, a Fujitsu Esprimo P956 also sold. This did sell for 249 euros. This is not so bad, because in a few days, I should be back to base, and I can actually go ahead and ship out this Fujitsu Esprimo and the HP like this. The last item that sold was a laptop, but the buyer actually had to cancel it because buyer bought it and realized that the item will not be delivered until like 2 weeks. So this is expected. But so far, from my own micro test, I see that it doesn't matter how long you put your shop on holiday mode. If people are able to buy things, there's going to be that 1 person, that 2 person, you know, even that 3 or 4 buyers that's going to go ahead and still buy your items and say, I do not care, these items, I can actually, you know, wait for these items to be delivered. These pieces right here, I know about the Fujitsu Esprimo P956, one of the best price items when it comes to this Fujitsu Esprimo tower pieces. I really took care to ensure that this PC was well priced, and if you go onto eBay right now and you make all the filters right, you are going to be seeing this PC as one of the best priced PCs right now on the platform. I'm just thinking to myself, possibly this buyer is not in a hurry. It's also possible that this buyer is also on holiday, and because of that, the buyer is not in a hurry whatsoever to receive these items. And my thinking is that if one person somewhere is thinking like this, definitely there are going to be more people, you know, thinking exactly the same way this buyer is thinking. Yes, 2 weeks, when you take a look at it, kind of looks like a long time, but I'm telling you from the micro experiment I am running right now on the platform that yet there are going to be people that will decide to wait for their items. It doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There are going to be people that will wait. You know, in the days of drop shipping, this was what we were meant to believe, that there's just not going to be anybody that's going to wait for an item to be delivered 3 weeks after ordering it. Guys, from this little micro experiment, I can tell you there are people that are ready to wait. So if you are kind of challenged by time, you have a lot of things going on in your life, you are not able to, you know, compete on the 1-day delivery period or the 2 days, you know, processing time, it's also okay to set your items on 3 days processing time. Yes, you're going to be losing a lot on search rankings and all that stuff. But if the items that you are selling, you are so sure of them, like I sell used pieces, I am sure that if somebody wants to make an investment of say 400 euros or $400, the person is not going to be in a hurry. You know, most people they are not so reactive whenever it comes to buying used pieces. They are not so reactive like you think. When they go onto the search bar, they make sure that they search for the items they want to buy and take a look, you know, on the first page, second page, and really take care to, you know, ensure that they are buying the best item, in this case, the best PC that will meet their need. And sometimes from the micro experiments I've also been running on this platform, I see that people are able to spend like 20 or 30 euros more, but then the item that they're going to be receiving is exactly, you know, that perfect match for their need. There are some categories where people are so sensitive with the price. If the item is just $5 or €5 more expensive, they're not going to buy it. But with PCs, with laptops, you know, when the item is even like 10 or 15, even 20, 30 euros more expensive, but then people tend to consider other stuff like, in what condition is the laptop? You know, in what condition is the hard drive? Is it new? Is it used? In what condition is the RAM sticks? How soon is the item going to be sent out? Are there scratches on the screen if it's a laptop? There are a lot of things that goes into why a buyer decides to buy from you or to buy elsewhere. And some of these things I have pretty much just understood or come to figure out by the various micro tests that I am running on my shop. So if you are not running micro tests on your eBay shop, I'm not going to say that you are doing something wrong, but you would get, you know, a lot more insight if you decide to, you know, listen to what people are saying on YouTube, but do your own test to be sure that what people are saying on YouTube is exactly what happens on your shop. A few weeks ago, I also did a micro test about, you know, this promoted listing thing and also not promoting my items. At the end of the day, from what I have found out in my own shop, it might not apply to your shop, is that, look, promoting your items at 10%, 15%, or even 5%, and not promoting it at all, if you sell in the computer category, most times it doesn't have any effect, because if you promote your items, you stand the chance of your items being a little bit more expensive. And because of that, if you are not careful, you're going to skim yourself out of the competition. I have noticed that when my items are not even promoted, but the price of these items are so good, you know, so competitive, people have a way of searching out that offer. And it has happened, you know, over and over and over again. These pieces that have been sold now, this HP Light Desk and the Fujitsu Equipment pieces, they were sold at 0% promoted listing fee. In other words, I didn't apply any promotion to it. I posted these offers, you know, left them on eBay platform, left eBay to do its thing, which is to search out people that are looking for this kind of pieces and to show them the offers. And as soon as the, you know, potential buyers possibly saw the offers, they went ahead, they click on the buy it now button, not minding the fact that the seller was on holiday. They bought it, and the item definitely is going to be shipped out to them as soon as I come back. Guys, if you are not running micro tests on your shop, please consider it something that you can start to do today. It mustn't be any, you know, big major AI testing, A/B testing, stuff like that. Micro tests, check out what buyers do when you set your shop on holiday mode and you leave buyers to still be able to buy from your shop. You know, check out, you know, station where you post an item without promoting it. Test out what happens when you change a particular title. Test out what happens when you post your items in the evening, in the morning, in the middle of the day. You know, as much as you have time, begin to run micro tests on your shop. It might just blow your mind, the things that you can possibly, you know, discover. Until I see you again in the next video. Peace.